Alright, g'day ladies and gents, girls and boys, subscribers and followers. Okay, so we had a little bit of a holiday on the way up to this location. Decided we'd call in Newman, have a bit of a look around, and I didn't bother doing any video because it was all pretty rushed and I just wanted to enjoy, you know, the few days there before we've come up to this new location. I'll just have a sweep around and see if you can guess where it is. I might have already said where we were going, but for those who can't remember. Check it out. It's beautiful country. I've worked up here years ago and further north, but I suppose anyone that's travelled or prospected up this way, they'll recognise that we're in the East Pilbara. More specifically, we're about 60k northeast of Nullagine, I think it is. So we got in late yesterday afternoon. I spent today setting up. I had a couple of problems with charging from the vehicle to the camper, and there's a couple of things I wanted to change on the setup for the camp. So I got all that sorted today. Had a good night's sleep last night, actually, really slept well. We had a couple of beers, went to bed early. No big campfire at the moment because spinifex everywhere and it's pretty fresh. That was last night, set up today. I'm just having a bit of a hunt around. We do have a 40E out here that we can't get on for another 20 days, probably 18 days actually, a little bit further up the track. So we're doing the same thing again. We're on a nice bit of pending ground actually. We know there's been gold found here. We've had friends that came up here and found quite a bit of gold. It's rough going getting in here. The road, where it's about a 2-hour drive, even though it's probably 50k on dirt, but she's rough in places, so could take it easy. Corrugation's really bad in spots, but this is going to be it. So we probably a couple of months we'll be here. Tomorrow morning early we'll be out indoor, hopefully finding some gold. All right, let's get back to camp. All right, ladies and gents, here we go. Walk up the massive hill to see if we can get a bit of a bird's eye view. We haven't come too far. There's a camp down there, but the goal is to get up there, taking all and every safety precaution. We'll see how we go. Whew. Righto, I can't blow out a candle at the moment, but we're getting a bit of elevation. Look at, it's amazing country, isn't it? Yeah, it is looking a bit steep. We'll find out if it's doable once we get there though. So I'm just walking the hill with my friend's partner, Joe.
Hello.
Me and Joe have decided to take the courageous effort to walk up the top. Well, team, I've got to tell you, it's worth every bit of effort to walk up here. Check it. Look at the view. Oh my God, the video won't do it justice, but look at that. Down.
Really good. Oh yeah.
Look at that. Oh my God. Oh look, we're just standing on a little area here, only about 4 metres square. We're on top of the world, guys. Or something like that anyway. Look at it. That is just magnificent. I wonder what ranges they are. Those lines around the side must be with
Animals.
Yeah, haggis, I reckon. You know, they have 2 short legs on one side and 2 long legs on the other side. And they run around the side of the hill. Yeah, and when you want to catch them, you just jump in front of them and they turn around and they roll down the hill.
Oh my God.
Oh, this is breathtaking. There's a bit of echo here, guys. I don't know whether you'll hear it on the GoPro, but let's give it a go.
That's awesome.
Hey team, well, we come across something coming down off the hill which is a little bit different. Maybe somebody can give us an explanation to it, but you can see that there's like, they've made a line of rocks and it's basically like a big Y, and it's like forming, it's almost like it's trying to point in a direction. I don't know whether it'll come out very well on the video, but if you have a look, you can see there's a line of rocks here with a big one in the middle there. Across there, it forms the Y, and then goes back up the other way. So whack in the comments, guys, if you've got any ideas what it is. We're making some assumptions, but my friend thinks maybe it was an indigenous marking to, you know, to represent a burn off, or to represent, you know, maybe something that was happening. But it's certainly been there a while. But yeah, if you've got any idea, whack it in the comments, and we'd be interested to hear. So we've just got back to camp and walk up the peak up there. Now if you have a look, now I know the video's not going to do it justice, but that little peak right up the top there, that's where we went, and the view is crazy. But anyway, we're back to our little camp here. We're here for 20 days while we're waiting for the 40E to kick off, like I said before. So tomorrow we start prospecting out. First thing tomorrow morning, hopefully there'll be a bit of gold to put up on next week's video. Here's the camp. We'll have a quick walk around because we're only here a short time, and I've actually found that the setup I got works really well. Now I'm going to talk a little bit over the changes I've made and the reasons why. So Starlink, I think when I first bought it, they said that it would draw, I think people had said that it was going to draw somewhere about 2.4, 2.6 amps, but I'm not so sure that's the case, and it possibly is, but I'm running through the inverter. But what I've found is, I have the Red Arc Red Vision system, and I'll point out one of the failings with it, which really frustrates me now I know what's going on. But you can see, it says it's 99%, but if you look, you can see that it's actually, if we go across, you can have a look, 13.3 volts. Now that's not 99% in my books. It should be a little bit more than that if it's close, you know, to 100, and just, it's still in boost. So I forgot to turn the, so I have the inverter running, which drives Starlink. I didn't run the generator last night because I didn't think I'd need to, because I've been turning Starlink off. And on the remote app, it doesn't show voltage of your battery. It only shows the percentage, which really is of no use when the percentage isn't representing the voltage that occurs in the battery. Now, whether I'm naive or obviously I'm no, you know, electronical genius, I know enough to get by and to wire a bit of stuff up, but I assume that the management system had the smarts to read the voltage on the battery, and consequently would gauge, you know, rough percentage on what it was. Now I'm not saying, you know, it's going to come down, you know, 1-2%, because we know the lithium batteries hold pretty much the same voltage for a period of time, but when it gets down low, I would have thought that there would have been an indicator. So because the alarms on the Red Arc Red Vision setup that I've got are dependent on percentage of charge and not voltage, and you actually can't set a shutdown voltage on this particular version I have, maybe I need to update it, there's no way of telling without arcing up the display and looking at the voltage to get a guess of what the percentage is. Now that's not a fault with the unit. I'll talk about where this fault or this mis-synchronization comes from, and that's to do with the inverter I put in. So being all Red Vision Red Arc, the camper didn't have an inverter, so I decided to put an inverter in. I only need it for charging camera gear and that, so I didn't want any great expense, and I bought the 340, I think it's a 340 watt inverter. Now as it turns out, you can plug it in for remote on and off through the Red Vision panel, but I didn't realise at the time, and I've only realised probably in the last week, that it doesn't monitor the input and output. So the Red Vision manager can't evaluate the amount of current or voltage and amperage that's been and watts that's been drawn through the inverter, and because it can't manage that or monitor that, it only monitors on what it knows, which means because it monitors on the flow, so basically the percentage is related to, that's why you need a full cycle. You have to do a full cycle so the battery's 100%, and then it monitors the flow and the current and the draw, etc., that is being pulled out of the battery through the internal shunt that's built into the management system, which I imagine is quite smart, much smarter than a normal shunt. But what it means is when you've got another device such as the inverter that can't be monitored by the manager, you're drawing, you know, all this voltage out, maybe 4.5 amps an hour is being pulled out of the battery by the inverter that doesn't relate or doesn't tell the manager system, you know, that's actually using any power or pulling anything out of the battery. Consequently, 99% is correct if the inverter's not turned on, because it's charging, it's coming up. We've got very little draw on money charging like a speaker. The fridge is running, you know, pulling 1.8, maybe 1.9 amps every 20 minutes for 5 minutes. So it will be correct and will work well, unless you plug in an inverter or another model inverter, then the manager system or management system can't monitor. It's a bit of a downfall to a degree. You know, it'd be nice if Red Arc could have a plug-in, much like Victron does. You know, I like Red Arc, but I'm a big fan of Victron too. But, you know, it'd be nice if you could get a plug-in like you can with a Victron inverter, that you could just plug it in and it'd allow the rest of the system to understand what's going on in that space. So that's one thing I discovered, and consequently I was waking up in the morning thinking, oh, I've still got 70%, and it caught me out a few times. So what I've done to combat that is this change here, and it works pretty well. It means I don't have to run my generator anywhere near as much. I've bought one of the new Bluettie EB3As. So this plug here, the 240 volt outlet, and this is the smaller Bluettie, by the way. This is the 268 watt hour, 600 watt inverter, EB3A. It's the new model that you can monitor via Bluetooth. But this supply here goes to Starlink. So Starlink is always running off this. I don't have to have the generator running. I don't have to worry about having the inverter on. So consequently now what I've done is I've cut the inverter out completely. That charges in, it'd probably charge in 30 minutes at the moment if I turn the generator on, because the generator now plugs into this power board. Now the power board, I have the power supply for the Bluettie power station and the other power supply, which gives me the ability to turn these on and off individually, and anything else I want to plug in. So this will basically become my charging bay for my chainsaw battery and such, you know, stuff I don't need to have with me. We now have the small power station that runs the Starlink, that's powered from the generator. So that power board runs from the generator. From the power board goes into my charging lead that goes into the Red Vision, or the Red Arc system. 120 amp iTech battery in there. I'm really becoming a fan of iTech. I like that gear as well. 200 amp hour, 200 watt I should say, iTech solar panel. These are great solar panel, really robust. And at the moment that's plugged into the camper. So without running the inverter and drawing the other bits and pieces off of it, I don't have to worry about running a generator to charge it up, unless we have a lousy day where I'm not getting, you know, 4 hours. All I need is 4 hours of solar now, and I'll be down to about 70% overnight, well, thereabouts, you know, working out what voltage represents percentage of the battery, because I'm not getting a correct reading at the moment. But that'll sort itself out now. After the next recycle, that percentage should be correct as per what the battery is, because no more inverter drawing the load off that battery without being monitored. I've changed my system for showering, but I've changed it because with the system, you know, I can draw external water, an external water supply, and have that come straight out. I can take external water and pump it into the tanks. You you know, there's a number of variations which work with this. I can take hot water, I can take water in, run it through a heater, and then run it back into the system. So what I do now is, all I need is just these 2 hoses. One goes in the water supply, and I like using the jerry can because I sit that in the sun, and just often I park so that gets the afternoon sun. That'll be nice and warm. As it starts settling down, I can have a shower, and I run it straight out of there. When that gets empty or gets low, I just fill it up again straight out of the tanks, and away we go. And I do all my washing up around here as well. You can see I've got some stuff soaking. And these are a great shower head. You can control the flow there, so I can wind the flow really back, because these pumps are a great pump, but the flow is too high not to be controlled for a shower. You know, you'll have 5 showers and you'll knock off 80 litres of water if you don't control the flow. So I can have a shower. I'll get, if I don't wash my hair, I'll get 3 showers out of 20 litres. If I wash my hair, I'll probably get 2.5. Nothing else, much else has changed. Jenny's very quiet, so I have it close, but now I only have to run it for about 3 hours of a night, just to top a couple of things up. Maybe I might need to run it for 40 hours, for 4 hours I should say, during the day, because I've had this powering, so we were on 26%. I've had that powering the Starlink for, let's see, 9, what's the time now? 14, so 6 hours. So 6 hours, and it's giving us an estimated 1.5 hours. So nearly 7 hours that's going to run Starlink for. I don't need Starlink at 10 o'clock at night, because, you know, we have a few drinks, I come back, I watch, you know, maybe an episode on Netflix and then go to sleep. So I don't need Starlink all night, and if I do need Starlink, I can just turn the power supply back on. The great thing about the new Bluettie monitors, by the way, is you can control them via a remote app. And that's something that the previous model was missing, that I'd had for about 3 years, and loved it. It gave me a really good run. It was the next size up from this. I didn't realise that when I bought this one it was the size down. But they had a big sale, and I got a bit excited and bought it because I really wanted the remote capability. And I gave the other one to my nephew, and it's still going strong. So that's about it for the camp. We're only here for maybe 20 days, and then we'll be, the next location I'll probably set up the RV3, because we're going to be there for anywhere up to 2 months. You know, banking we're on the gold, but I'm not concerned about that, because I know we'll be on the gold. How much? Well, I know we'll find gold. How much gold we'll find? Well, I don't know, but I know we'll be on the gold. So that's about it for this camp. So just in summary, we arrived yesterday afternoon, set up camp. I had a few things to do. Like I said, I wasn't charging for my vehicle for some reason. I've resolved that issue. I changed my charging system up, as I said, and now I'm using that. I'm actually going to buy another Bluettie box, finding enough gold. So I've got a little bit of extra cash to throw around, because I am putting a barb on the back of the cruiser out of the gold that I find on this trip. So tomorrow's day 1, and we'll get out there and get into it. Righto, I think that's about it. Take it easy, guys. Look after yourselves. I'm going to go and have a beer. It's been a long day, and probably 2 or 3. And I've got to get Barnes out. He's had enough. You can hear me talking to someone. He thinks I'm talking to someone who wants to come out and join in. Job's done, guys. That's the end of it for today. We'll finish up the roll, and look for me tomorrow, because if there's a video up tomorrow evening, it means I've found a bit of gold. If not, there'll be a video next weekend, because I know I'll find gold. Cheers, guys.